Don't Say Her Name. A Caribbean horror story. The day the spring took hold. The sun was high and cruel that day, sky clear, sea still, everything too perfect. Blunder wiped the sweat from his brow as he led his favorite cow down the narrow path carved through the sea grape trees. The leaves whispered with every gust, and the salt in the air clung to his skin like a warning. "Molly," he called, clicking his tongue. "Come now, girl. Time to drink." The cow let out a low groan, her hooves crunching the dry leaves. The path ended at the edge of the spring. A hidden pool of fresh water nestled between rock and sand, close enough to the sea to hear the waves, but untouched by the tide. Blunder knelt to splash his face. "Molly," he called again, voice louder, careless. "Molly!" The moment hung too long. Then the sand beneath his heels shifted. Before he could stand, something yanked him backward. Hard. His legs flew out from under him, and his body hit the ground with a thud. He tried to scream, but the breath was ripped from his chest. The sand dragged him fast, gritty hands unseen, clawing at his clothes, pulling him toward the sea grape roots like a grave opening just for him. His fingers scrambled for grip, found nothing. Then, a strong hand caught his wrist. "Mr. Lee." Old but still wiry, the man grunted, bracing his feet in the sand and pullin' with all he had. "Hold on, Blunder," he shouted. With a final heave, Blunder was yanked free. The sand stilled. The spring went quiet. The cow stood unmoved, chewing calmly, as if nothing had happened. Blunder lay on the ground, shaking, chest heaving. Mr. Lee stood over him, eyes dark, mouth tight. "We told you," he said. "Stop coming here. Stop calling your cow that name." Blunder blinked. "What?" "That name," Mr. Lee said sharply. "The woman who lived here, she gone long time, but she don't like her name being said. Not here, not where she drown." He looked toward the spring, voice lowering. "We don't say her name no more." The old woman's warning. That night, the house was quiet. Too quiet for a place that close to the sea. No tree frogs, no wind through the shutters, just the soft clink of Blunder's spoon against the enamel bowl as he ate his dinner of yam and salt fish. His grandmother sat across from him, bent like a question mark, her eyes sharp even in old age. She stirred her tea, but didn't drink. "Blunder," she said softly, not looking at him, "you need to stop going Black Spring by yourself, and stop calling that cow that name." He snorted. "Granny, not you too." She looked up then, and her eyes weren't playing. "You think is just old people tales. But we used to go there, you know. Me, Marlene, Cousin Tanny, even your granduncle when he was still walking straight." She leaned in a little, voice lower. "We'd go to gather firewood, plenty sea grape branches, dry and thick. We'd stack them up high, tie them with twine, and when we ready to leave, none of us could lift our bundles. Not one. It was like someone was sitting on them. Heavy, cold, like stone, like spite." She paused, staring into the steam rising from her tea. "And you know what we do? We leave them. Every time. We don't fight with spirits, Blunder. We respect the dead." Blunder laughed nervously, shaking his head. "So what? You think the spring haunted just 'cause you couldn't lift wood?" She slammed her cup down. The clatter echoed through the wooden house. "I know it is," she snapped, "because the last time we went, Marlene said the name by accident, just like you. And that night, her brother never come home." Blunder's smile faded. His grandmother's voice dropped to a whisper. "We don't say her name. We don't call her out. You hear me, boy?" He nodded slowly, but deep down, he still didn't believe. Not really. Not yet. The tambourine tree. A few days passed. Blunder kept quiet, but Black Spring did not. The village buzzed with uneasy silence, like people were waiting for something to happen. Then came the Ebanks family. Siebert Ebanks was a fisherman, stubborn and hard of hearing, with 3 children always running ahead of him like wild goats. They didn't believe in much, certainly not in old stories. So when Siebert decided to take his children to Black Spring to fish for freshwater sprats, no one stopped him. Not even Mr. Lee, though he watched them go with a tight jaw and a slow shake of his head. It was the youngest girl, Shanice, who caused the trouble. She'd always been rowdy, climbing mango trees barefoot and jumping from rocks into the sea, daring the boys to follow her. That day, she found a tall tambourine tree near the spring and scrambled up its trunk like a lizard. "Shanice, come down from there," Siebert shouted. "You gon' break your neck." But she just laughed, high up and bouncing on a thick limb, shaking green tambourines loose. Then she started to sing. "Molly can't catch me. Molly too slow. Molly can't climb. She too old, you know." The wind stopped. Just like that. Everything went still. Even the sea grape leaves stopped rustling. Then, snap, the branch broke. Shanice didn't fall like a child. She was thrown, hard and fast, like someone had yanked her off the tree mid-air. She hit the ground back first, bones bending wrong. By the time Siebert reached her, her eyes had rolled white, and thick white foam bubbled from her mouth. She didn't speak, didn't blink. Only her lips moved, whispering something over and over. "Molly, Molly, Molly." Don't say her name. Weeks passed, and the heat settled heavy over the village like wet cloth. Morning came slow on the day Blunder disappeared. He had gone out early before the roosters crowed, cast net draped over his shoulder, heading down to the shoreline near the coral reef. Said he was going to catch bait fish, the kind of task a man could do with his eyes closed. But when hours passed and he didn't return, Mr. Lee grew uneasy. He followed the trail of footprints down to the sea, past the old sea grape trees and the worn tracks left by Blunder's boots. The tide was low. The reef shimmered under the rising sun. And that's where he found him. Blunder, floating still in a narrow hole at the edge of the reef, eyes open to the sky, mouth slightly parted, neck bent at a terrible angle. They say he drowned. They say his neck was broken. But no one could explain how he ended up there, or why his cast net was folded neatly beside the water. After that, no one else dared visit Black Spring. Years turned over like tide. The land changed hands. The bush was cleared, roads paved, houses raised. Young families moved in, laughing, building. The stories faded into whispers, then into silence. But still, on moonlit nights, when the waves kiss the rocks just right, the old people say you can hear her. A soft humming near the spring, a whisper in the sea breeze. Molly, they don't speak it loud. They never do. And if you ever pass by that stretch of shore, where the coral reef peeks through the tide and the sea grapes lean low, remember, don't say her name.